All right, Shalom and Barakatham. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, and His Son, whose name is Yahweh Shai. That's the brother Sagalah, back with a lesson all through the Spirit. And I'm going to touch on this article here, which is the premise of the lesson from www.tmz.com. Now, the title here you see, it says, and this is the land, it's the picture of the land that these Edomites are buying up in Arkansas, and they're looking to expand into Missouri. As the title says, Whites Only Community explores Missouri expansion, discredited as reprehensible segregation, says the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL. Now, this was updated July the 24th, 2025. It says Missourians might have some closed-minded new neighbors soon. It says an all-white only community is thinking about expanding into the state. Return to the Land is a private membership group that supports traditional views and European ancestry. Reading between the lines, it's a group of white people who think diversity is a problem in the melting pot, which is America, the great melting pot, the great experimentation, which brings all people and nations together, all cultures, all ways of life. That's why you have the alphabet community, right? Those weirdos. You have all these different forms and ways of living, all religions, everything like that. So that's what makes this a great melting pot, which is in America. These Edomites are like, we're tired of this. We don't want this no more. And advocating for association with individuals who have a common ancestry, which that's not altogether unrighteous when we read in the scriptures. They currently have a community based in Northeast Arkansas. Only a certain type of person with European ancestry can join. It says no Ish people are allowed in these communities. Now, it goes on to say back in the 20th century, the KKK demanded members to be so-called white, Protestant, and American born. Now, it goes on to say the ADL are claiming that they're going to bring back discredited and reprehensible forms of segregation, and is calling on the Arkansas government to strike back against the organization. This guy right here is funny. I used to watch the show called what was it called? Vikings. And the main character name was Ragnar Lothbrok. He had a son named Buren. This guy, Eric Orwell, the founding member of this organization, called Return to the Land. He looks just like him. His mug, he looks just like the guy right here. So that's your Edomite right there. That's Esau. Anyway, it says Eric Orwell, co-founder of Return to the Land, claims they've spoken to attorneys who believe they have a chance or case that makes the prejudiced community legal. So it sounds like they're going to fight this one out all the way to the conservative U.S. Supreme Court. So that's what's going on in Esau's world. Now, this once again ain't altogether wrong. Because look what the Most High said to his own people, Deuteronomy 7:6, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy God. The Lord Yahweh thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now, today people would say that that's racism. That's racist. Well, God says his people are above all people that are on the earth, the children of Israel, the 12 tribes. Today, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and the Israelite foreigners are scattered. The seed of Jacob, they're above all people on the earth. That's what God said. Psalm 135:4. For the Lord Yahweh have chosen Jacob, Yaquab, unto himself, and Israel, Yasha'Allah, for his peculiar treasure. So the Israelites are a peculiar treasure to the Most High, and they're above all people. We read here in Deuteronomy 7:6. They're above all people on the earth. Now, what's the importance of that? This is the book of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. Deuteronomy 32, starting at verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will teach thee. So the true elders of the nation of Israel here in the last days will be bringing our people back according to the words of the Most High. That's what the true elders will be doing, not just someone who's 60 or 70 years old. That doesn't constitute being an elder. Verse 8, when the Most High, who people call God, Yahweh, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he always separated, right, the people on the earth, the sons of Adam. He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Verse 9, for the Lord Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So the Most High's people are the Israelites, who are above all people. Now, in order for Israel to be above all people, part of them being above all people is that they would remain holy. Holy means to be separate. That's why the division. Now let's show that real quick. This comes to mind. This is 2 Corinthians 6. 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. Let's see where it says. 2 Corinthians 6. Yep. And verse, I'll start at 16. And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols, speaking of the other nations? For ye are the temple of the living God. It says, as the Most High or God have said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God or their power, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord Yahweh. Come out from among who? The nations, the ways of the world. And he's calling the Israelites to do that today. The elect are going to do that, and they're actually doing that today. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith Ha'adawan, or the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. We're being received back because we're coming back, right, out of the ways of the world, out of the religions of the world, out of Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, all these different ways of thinking, being Kemetic, the black unconscious community, as we like to call it, as Israelites, coming out of the ways of the world. That's being separate. So that's what it means to be holy, is to be separate. So what has went on here in Babylon has been great mixture, the mixing of the ideas, cultural beliefs, morals, lifestyles, all of that has been mixed together. That's why it's called the Great Melting Pot. But the Most High has never been with his people being among all people. Now, let's show that further. It's the book of Genesis, the 11th chapter. Now here the title says universal language, Babel or Babal, confusion. That's what it means. The Tower of Babel was confusion there. The languages were confounded, but it was confusion. What made it confusion? Because confusion literally means to be mixed up. Con with fusion, with mixture. Genesis 11:1, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Now, imagine that. Now we have many different languages, but at one time on the earth, going back in the book of Genesis, all people spoke one language and one speech. And that was Hebrew when you read in the Holy Scriptures with distinction. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime for mortar. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to hit the point. It says, and they said, go, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Speaking of the people on the earth, right? They were all together. They had one language and they all lived amongst each other. And the Lord Yahweh came down to see the city, which these are the angels, the tower, see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one. He was speaking to the angels, and they have all one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Verse 7, go to, let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And that's what happened. And that's why this place was called Babel or Babal. So the Most High brought confusion to the people of the earth, right? To bring separation, division. That was a part of the people being separated, which his people, the Israelites, were holy by being separated. Now, let me get this. This comes to mind. It's the book of Psalm 82. Psalm 82 and 5, it says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Why? Because Babylon is ruling, and Babylon is promoting, the ideology that all people have to come together and be one. That's why they're going to unroll the chip before long and make it mandatory. That's going to be a part of them trying to make everybody be on one accord or all be the same. Right, under the rule of Esau. I have said ye are gods. The Most High said his people are gods, and all of you are the children of the Most High. So his people, he said, are gods, but all of you the children of the Most High. But verse 7 says, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes, right? So by us being assimilated with this culture, not calling on our God or serving him according to his word, that's why the majority of our people will die here in these last days, or be deleted, let me say, be unalived, because they're not going to turn back to what's righteous and what's holy, which is symbolic of life, and being outside of the ways of righteousness is symbolic of death. Now, let's get a few quick ones before I close it out. This is 1 Peter or 2 Peter. 2 Peter, second chapter comes to mind. 2 Peter 2 and verse 5. Well, I'll start at verse 4. It says, for if God spared not the angel. Now, let's go to verse 5. 2 Peter 2 for sake of time. 2 Peter 2 and 5. And spared not the old world, but saved Noah. This is going back to Genesis, the 6th chapter. The 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. And the Most High is going to do the same thing with the missiles. Again here today. Speaking of Babylon, verse 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah is giving us examples of judgment the Most High brought. And why? Turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample or an example unto those that after should live ungodly. So the example of living ungodly is what the Most High did to Babylon or Sodom and Gomorrah, which is likened today like Babylon the Great. And we're going to show that tie. So what he did to Sodom and Gomorrah is a memorial of what it means to live ungodly, how he sees that. And then you see that today, that people push that you can live however you want to live. And you can be, of that community that is an abomination to the Most High, and that he actually, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just all about love, right? He's just going to forgive everyone and he's going to love them. Now, it don't work that way. Revelation 11 and 8, it says, and their dead bodies, speaking of the children of Israel, shall lie in the street of the great city. The great city is Babylon, Babylon the Great, which spiritually is in the spirit, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Sodom, just like we just read, Sodom and Gomorrah, going back to Genesis, the 19th chapter, right? Sodom and Gomorrah is in the same spirit as Sodom and Gomorrah, and he destroyed it as an example of how not to live ungodly. Revelation 11 and 8, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Babylon is in the same spirit of Sodom, right? The land of Sodomites, and Egypt, bondage, is the land of our captivity, where also our Adawan was crucified. So our Lord, his name, image, his likeness, right? The truth has been crucified or X'd out here in Babylon, which is the proof that that this is today spiritually Sodom and Egypt, Babylon the Great, the land of confusion, right? That this is the proof. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying, to the believing brothers and sisters, right, who've heard it and will hear the lesson. I want to give all praises, infinite honor, glory to the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahabushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, and his Son, Yahabushai. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel who are laboring in truth and in sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Barakim La, Habayath, Madawada. Blessings to the house of David, which you brothers laboring in truth and in sincerity on the four corners of the earth as well. Giving all diligence, making your calling and election sure. And to the Akyam Ba'akwath brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel being preached throughout the four corners of the earth. Unto you I say Shalom, Shalom, and Barakatham. Peace and blessings. Them Yad always.